Welcome to this explainer. Look, we all know artificial intelligence is the inescapable topic in every single boardroom right now. But actually scaling it, making it work across a massive organization, yeah, that's an entirely different beast. Today, we're dissecting a critical strategic playbook that could fundamentally change the trajectory of your business. We're going to break down the master architecture of enterprise AI, and more importantly, how you can finally move your organization out of what we call pilot purgatory and into real, measurable ROI. So grab a notepad, because this is going to be packed with actionable insights.
$154 billion. Let that number sink in for a second. It literally stops you in your tracks, doesn't it? That is the global enterprise AI spending in 2023 alone. The market momentum here is absolutely staggering. We're seeing an adoption curve that is practically vertical, with massive capital flowing into AI initiatives quarter over quarter. Enterprises are basically betting the house on this technology.
But then, we get this absolute strategic whiplash. 70%. That is the shocking reality we're actually dealing with right now. 70% of enterprises report that their AI initiatives have either completely stalled or outright failed to deliver any measurable business value. Talk about a failure zone. You have this massive, unprecedented investment on one hand and an incredibly high failure rate on the other. This is exactly what it means to be trapped in pilot purgatory.
Which brings us to our core thesis for today, perfectly summarized by this classic Sun Tzu quote. Strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. Here's the hard truth. The reason AI isn't delivering for most companies isn't because the tech is immature. It's because enterprises are treating AI adoption as an IT problem rather than a strategic transformation challenge. If you're just buying AI tools, well, those are tactics. And without a strategy, all those shiny new tools are just the very expensive noise before defeat.
Okay, let's dive into this. Think of this agenda as the exact load-bearing blueprint you need to escape pilot purgatory. We'll start with the enterprise AI paradox, move into bridging the alignment gap, then targeting real business value, building the governance shield, and finally, tying it all together with the master architecture.
Section 1. The Enterprise AI Paradox. Let's actually look at why so many smart companies are bleeding millions on isolated little experiments. This tale of two enterprises brilliantly illustrates the paradox. Take a typical financial services firm, for example. They ran 7 different pilots across low-value IT and HR functions. They didn't apply strict strategic discipline, no specific what, why, or who. And crucially, they didn't establish a business intelligence or BI baseline. The result? $12 million invested, 0 ROI, and 0 actual deployments. Just poof, gone. Now compare that to a manufacturing firm that targeted high-value customer operations. They mapped out their specific strategy, tying every single thing to a measurable EBITDA outcome. They built their BI baseline before writing a single line of code. They invested a fraction of the cost, just $3.2 million, and achieved a massive $9.1 million annual cost reduction. Applying disciplined strategy is literally the difference between lighting money on fire and transforming your bottom line.
Section 2. Bridging the alignment gap.
So if strategy is the key, where are companies getting it wrong? I want you to ask yourself honestly, are your tech teams in your boardroom operating in completely different universes right now? Because in most failing AI projects, they absolutely are. You've got the boardroom asking, how does AI contribute to our 15% revenue growth? Meanwhile, HR and operations are panicking because change adoption is slow and we need to redesign training. And then over in IT, they're saying, wait, the data quality isn't ready and security is pending. Every single one of these conversations is incredibly valid. But when they happen in separate, isolated silos, the technology might work perfectly, but it completely fails to solve the actual business problem. Isolated conversations kill business value, period.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we fix that disconnect, the information systems strategy triangle. Think of it as a 3-point system. You have business strategy at the top, driven by the C-suite, organizational strategy driven by HR, and IS strategy driven by the CIO. But the magic happens right in the center. Business intelligence must serve as the ultimate load-bearing alignment bridge. Monitored by the Chief Data Officer, this central BI hub tracks EBITDA, impact, user adoption rates, and system quality all at the exact same time. It's what actually connects those disconnected rooms.
To make this incredibly practical, let's walk through this misalignment diagnostic matrix. Executives, you can use this to immediately spot warning signals in your own operations. If you see an AI tool deployed with no baseline KPI, you've got a technology-first misalignment. The corrective action? Stop everything and establish that BI baseline.
If you're seeing high user abandonment or a sudden spike in IT support tickets, that's strategy without readiness. You need to redesign your training. High error rates? You have technology without foundation and need to pause for data remediation. And if there are conflicting escalation paths when things inevitably go wrong, you have a governance gap. You need to name your KPI owners immediately.
Section 3. Targeting real business value.
Once we're finally aligned, we have to point our AI at the right targets. Now, what's absolutely crucial to understand here is the Pareto principle of AI. You have got to stop building generic chatbots. Just stop. Instead, apply the McKinsey value intersection. Lens 1 tells us where to focus, those top 4 functions that drive 75% of enterprise value: customer operations, marketing and sales, software engineering, and product R&D. Lens 2 tells us what work actually changes: complex, high-wage, knowledge-intensive work. Where those two lenses intersect, that is exactly where you deploy Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. By targeting high-value functions with RAG to augment expert decision-making, that is how you capture true competitive advantage. Systematically, here is the exact linear breakdown of the ROI EBITDA value loop to lock in those financial outcomes. It's a strict process. Step 1, define your specific EBITDA target. Step 2, identify the value location using those McKinsey lenses we just talked about. Step 3, design the measurement, build your BI before deployment. Step 4, deploy and measure with strict controls. Step 5, calculate the value. And Step 6, generate context to feed the next cycle. And look at the valuation math here. Every single dollar of sustained EBITDA improvement can equal $10 to $20 of enterprise value. When you make your AI 35% faster at legal contract review, that's not just a cool tech trick. That's a $6 million cost saving, which equates to over $70 million in enterprise value.
Section 4. Building the Governance Shield.
Now, you can't talk about realizing massive ROI without talking about the protective shield of governance. To really grasp this risk, I want you to think about this incredible 2023 incident report. A U.S. law firm submitted a formal brief to a federal judge containing 6 completely non-existent court cases. Why? Because the AI they used simply hallucinated the legal citations. Now, with a bit of dry irony, we actually have to admit, the technology wasn't broken at all. The AI generated highly plausible, incredibly confident-sounding text exactly as it was designed to do. The failure wasn't technological. The failure was that human governance completely, utterly failed. Quickly, when we step into the enterprise space, there are 5 specific failure modes actively threatening your deployments that can erode trust overnight. Number 1 is hallucination, presenting incorrect facts with absolute confidence, just like that law firm. Number 2 is privacy and data leakage, accidentally exposing confidential information. Number 3 is algorithmic bias. Number 4 is data poisoning, where bad actors actually corrupt your source data. And number 5 is adversarial attacks, using malicious prompts to bypass your system's controls.
So how do we stop this? Well, governance cannot be bolted on after the damage is already done. It has to be baked in as a foundational shield. Think of it like a filtration system. Raw AI risks enter, and they must first pass through a technical controls filter, automated citations, encryption, hash verification. Then they pass through an organizational controls filter, mandatory human review, ethics policies, change approvals. Only when raw risk passes through both of those architectural filters do we get safe, validated, secure, and compliant AI output.
Finally, Section 5, the Master Architecture.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because we've covered alignment, value, and risk, and this framework is where the whole shebang finally clicks together, the 3D master architecture of enterprise AI. Strategy, alignment, and risk are not sequential phases that you just check off one after the other. They are simultaneous operational requirements. At the base, you have Layer 1, the Information Systems Strategy Triangle, aligning business, org, and IT. Floating right above that is Layer 2, the Targeting Plane, using the McKinsey value lenses to pinpoint that high-value knowledge work. And covering it all is Layer 3, the Shield Plane, providing technical and organizational controls. But absolutely the most vital part of this entire system is that glowing core running straight down the middle. That is business intelligence, acting as the central nervous system, unifying every single layer and transforming AI from a random tech experiment into a rock-solid, scalable enterprise asset.
To put this to work tomorrow, here is your concrete, actionable C-suite checklist. We call these the go-live gates. Before signing off on any enterprise AI deployment, you must clear these 3 gates. Gate 1, strategic clarity. Has the CFO approved the baseline KPI and EBITDA impact model? Gate 2, triangle alignment. Has HR approved the readiness plan, and has the CTO reviewed the data architecture? Gate 3, active governance. Has the risk officer mitigated high-priority risks and tested the real-time dashboard? If these gates aren't cleared, the project doesn't launch. Actually, it's really that simple.
I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to reframe your entire approach. Look at your current AI roadmap right now and ask yourself honestly, are you just building a generic isolated technology experiment that's going to end up stuck in pilot purgatory? Or are you building a structured, rigorously governed, scalable enterprise asset designed to drive massive EBITDA value? Applying this master architecture is the difference between the two. The playbook is literally in your hands. Now it's time to build. Thank you so much for learning with us today.